your brand who you are you going to be able to roll up your sleeves and literally get dirty and go out and create this business with us?
Welcome to Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Meyer, and I teach you how to get promoted, get paid, and bring your whole self to the leadership table. I am on a mission to change organizations from the C-suite out, because women are the new face of leadership, and we are doing it on our terms.
Hello, corporate badasses. Welcome to another episode of Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Meyer, and super excited to be here with you today. I have a very incredible woman on today's podcast, and I was actually very happy to see. I was over at my mom's house yesterday, and she had a bottle of Mrs. Meyer's cleaning products on right behind her toilet. I know that sounds like a weird way to start this conversation, but when I found out that Monica, who I'll be talking to today, had this new book out inspired by her mother, and then and her whole business and life, and she's created, obviously, I just really wanted to have her on my podcast and to share her story and her journey as a woman in leadership. And I'm so excited to have you here, Monica. Thank you so much.
I'm delighted to be here, Stacy. This is great.
Monica Nassif is a founder, entrepreneur, brand builder, and motivational speaker known for pioneering success in the consumer household cleaning product market through her ventures, including Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day. She recently launched her memoir, I Bottled My Mother, the Mrs. Meyer's story, Grit, Grime, and Growing a Business, which is the gritty, hilarious, heartfelt origin story behind Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day, the cult favorite cleaning line inspired by Monica's real-life mom, Thelma Meyer, a whip-smart, no-nonsense Midwesterner who raised 9 children with little more than elbow grease. I had to read the whole thing because I love all of it.
That's my mom, without question.
Yeah, amazing. So let's start out with, and maybe your mom is your secret to success. I'm not sure. Tell me, Monica, for you, what are your secrets to success?
You know what? I think I've always been a really creative problem solver. And I think a lot of that has to do with growing up in a big family where we were basically kicked out at a very young age to get a job. And my mother's attitude was, I'm raising adults, not children. I want you to be self-sufficient, financially independent. I was never asked about my grades. It was always, do I have a job?
Wow.
So I started working at age 10. So I've always been able to work and find a job. And I just met a lot of people. And I thought I can kind of figure out how to do stuff.
Yeah. Did you always want to be a CEO, a founder, create your own business?
No, but you know what? I was always the second boss. So I was the oldest girl of 9. And when you're put in charge of 8 siblings at a very young age, let's be honest, age 10, I was always bossing people around. And I never thought of, oh, I'm an entrepreneur or I'm a boss. It was just my role in the family, in the lineup. So I don't know. And my mom was super creative. We were taught to cook. So she really paid attention to beauty and how to pay attention to interesting things. And that was a real gift from her.
And so did she actually literally inspire the cleaning product, like make her own cleaning products?
No, she did not. However, she did save all those little tiny bars of soap, the chips, and she kept them in a pot and pan under the bathroom sink. And when it became full, she would melt it down with a little water and glycerin and then put it in a squirt bottle. So that was just to save soap.
Right.
But I actually had the idea with another brand called Caldrea. It was very high-end, aromatherapeutic, singular fragrance for cleaning your home. That was named after my 2 daughters, Calla and Andrea. And we were in about 3,000 to 5,000 specialty stores around the U.S. And I thought, you know what, someone's going to knock us off. And I thought, I'm just a terrible loser. Maybe it comes up from being a big family, highly competitive. I want to knock myself off. So then we had this idea to create a kind of a Midwestern wholesome brand. And I just kept thinking about it. I go, this is like my mom. Maybe she'll be the brand and, the brand inspiration. So that's where that came from.
Wow. I can imagine. Okay, these are great ideas. You listen to the story and it sounds really like, wow, this is so easy. I have this inspiration. I go and pitch the product and then people said yes. And then I sell the product later and like all the things, right? And I have a feeling that that was not the way that it went down.
Yeah, you make it sound glamorous and easy, and really that's what I wanted for the consumers, just to pull the product off the shelf at a Target store and be happy as a clam, but it's not that way when you're an entrepreneur. We've had problems finding vendors to even give us the raw materials to make the product because we wanted personal grade ingredients to really elevate the category, and people thought we were crazy. We couldn't find triggers for our bottles. We couldn't find label makers. So we had all these challenges in terms of finding vendors who didn't think we were crazy to kind of elevate the category. And then once we got Caldrea up and running, we went into all these specialty stores. A lot of retailers are like, I don't sell cleaning products. I'm not selling this. But once they saw the bottles and realized how beautiful the fragrances were, they were like, oh, this is interesting. And then you'll have, once we got Mrs. Meyer's up and running, we had a heck of a time finding distributors who were willing to put us inside a Whole Foods, a Target, a Walmart. So we set up our own sales team. It was quite expensive, but it really paid off because the thing that was really differentiated our brand was we brand blocked all the products together in the cleaning aisle. That was never done before, and no distributor would ever do that. So we had a lot of hiccups along the way.
You know what? You're right. Like I like
Yeah,
now I can see it in Target,
right.
right? And so it's not like, okay, this is the dish soap and then this and they're all in different aisles.
Exactly, because
Oh
we
my
we were
God.
higher priced, and I wanted to send the message that, "Hey, we have everything for your house. If you love lavender, you love lemon verbena or basil, we have everything." So it had to be merchandised together. That was key.
So then as a woman, did you have any
Oh
challenges? I'll
gosh.
just say it.
Well, okay, there's 2 sides to that coin. One, and this is the positive side, and some people don't agree with me, but it worked out for me. You're constantly underestimated. Right?
Mhm.
Huge advantage. People don't realize the advantage of that. So I would have guys come into my trade show booth, always guys, and threaten me like, "Oh, you'll never sell the packaging." And the minute they said that, I went, "Oh, you guys are showing me your cards." I grew up playing cards, so I'm used to people just like, you know, we held our cards close to our vest, if you will. And so then I knew they were threatened by us, and so then you can run while they're threatened. That's the advantage to being female is you're underestimated. The disadvantage is that they're not used to females raising money. The huge disadvantage is raising
Mm.
money. We raised 2 rounds of angel investors, and sadly, the statistics are still against us. According to a Forbes article a couple years ago, VCs only invest 2.3% of their funds into female-owned businesses.
And I'm always like, and that doesn't even break out the diversity within
Oh,
women,
yeah.
right? And so that's like across the board.
That's
Yeah.
sad. And
Yeah.
so I wish I knew I mean, there's more funds, there's more awareness. Okay, so that's a start, but we're not really moving the needle. So the other thing that happened is when I was out raising money with angel investors in Minneapolis, there was a woman ahead of me who had started a gourmet food company for babies, way ahead of her time. Great concept, just ahead of her time. Well, she lost a whole bunch of money from these same investors. So I got painted with her same brush. Oh,
Mhm.
I had this woman in here. She failed. You're going to fail.
That other woman
I
fails.
know.
It's like,
It's just
how in the
like,
wor
and they would never say that to a guy, right? Not in a million
Yeah.
years. So that's a disadvantage. And also, let's be real, the people you're asking money from are typically older white gentlemen, and they're not used to a
Mhm.
woman coming in asking for money for dish soap. They're like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
So, it
Right.
was very challenging to raise money. Biggest challenge. The
Yeah.
hardest part of the job, without question.
Yeah. So then what were your big breakthroughs? Did you just have to yell louder or like try harder or like what was the turning point for
I
you?
just kept at it, and finally someone said
Mhm.
this now remember, I was raising money before LinkedIn, where you could easily find the wealthy and
Uh,
the wise. I didn't have all those connections. And so finally I met a woman who goes, "You gotta find this guy." He was an original investor in the Nerf ball. It was invented in
mhm.
Minneapolis. He'll love this deal. So I found this guy. It took me 6 weeks. I finally found him. He took my call. I go out to meet with him. He looks through my whole business plan without interrupting. He's reading it and he goes, okay, here's the deal. I hate consumer product deals. I just hate them. But I kind of like you. So I'm going to take this home and read this. And if I like it, I'll call you 8 a.m. on Monday and I'll help you. And he called me and he helped me. And I think it was because he loved taking on the big guys. He loved P&G. So for him, it was an intellectual challenge. He was an ex-investment banker, ex-finance guy. He knew this whole world. And for him, it was sport. And in a way, I learned so much from this guy. But the other thing I finally found was someone who understood the margin benefits of putting liquids in the bottle. So I finally found someone who kind of understood what I was trying to do. And that took a while.
Right.
That took a while.
Now I want to turn the tables a little bit to your mother. Is she still around? Did she get to see you be successful?
Oh, yeah,
What are her thoughts about?
She is still around. She's 93. She's going strong. We just did a book event in Minneapolis. She was the star of the show. She walks to church every day. She has a garden. Yeah. Oh, she's killing it.
So she's a part of your book and your next chapter as well. So she got to see this all be successful in terms of a business and now get to see this legacy play out and everything. She's on the cover of a book.
I get a text every morning. I've sold 3 books. Send me 20 more.
Yes, exactly. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So obviously she was an encourager, right? Of being, go make money, do big things in the world, like get out and, create things. Are there other people influences like that in your life that really kind of showed you what's possible?
Well, when you have 5 brothers and 3 sisters, we learned from everybody and everybody was very competitive. Everybody had jobs. So
I love your family.
So if I got stuck, I have a brother who was a CEO of Pella Windows. He was groomed, with the MBA program at Harvard and all that. I wasn't. I'm from the School of Hard Knocks, as an entrepreneur. So we traded a lot of information. So that was helpful. And so I always had kind of someone to call that I could trust, that I wouldn't have to expose myself that, oh gosh, I can't figure this out. So that was tremendously helpful. And my mother's attitude was, I asked her once when I wrote this book, I said, Mom, I don't ever remember you being afraid of anything. And she said, fear's not my vocabulary. Failure's not in my vocabulary. She said, I thought that was learning. And, she raised us like that. So it wasn't like, oh, tis, I can't believe you did that. It was like, well, now move, not, next. She was a busy woman.
That's amazing. I want to come to one of your book signings just to meet her.
Oh, she was a star without question.
When you were building your business, so I'm thinking about your own executive team and thinking about diversity and leadership. Were there any things that you took into account and the people that you surrounded yourself with to help elevate the business, the brand, you, all those things?
Sure. I mean, when I started, we really started with people who said yes, because a lot of people thought I was crazy. So we had a very small core team. And then as we grew, we really brought on people with very specific expertise, in terms of project management, ops, financing, etc. One question that we had when we when we first started, it was kind of a joke, but it was more to catch the reaction of the person, was we'd say, hey, if we hire you, could you bring your own desk? And the corporate people will look down at the floor, checking their shoelaces or for ants. But it was really a test of, hey, look around. We're sitting on card tables. You got a card table, bring it in because we don't have any money. So that was an early, I mean, it was kind of funny, but it did sort of work because big corporate types did not do well in our culture.
I talk a lot about interviewing and strategies and really thinking about the types of companies and what startups need. And are they going to be able to, even just your brand, who you are you going to be able to roll up your sleeves and literally get dirty and go out and create this business with us, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I had this executive come in. She wanted to interview me. She had some big idea. And she said, And we're probably 5 years old. We're kinda getting up and running, and she goes, "I just wanna meet with you because I have a really big idea for you." I said, "Well, what's that?" She goes, "I have a business strategy for you." And I thought, "Well, I got that. Bring your
Yeah.
shovel. We're down." I said, "If you wanna really get to work, I need ditch diggers. We're trying to sell a bunch of stuff here." And I thought, "God, the arrogance of that," you know?
Yeah.
And I just you'd have corporate people come into our trade show booth and make these, let's be honest, obnoxious comments about, "Your
Yeah.
packaging doesn't work, you can't do that, you can't do this." Man, the minute I heard that, I thought, "I'm just gonna run all over you. You just wait," you know?
Yeah. It's always interesting when I hear somebody like you, and I want to remind the audience listening when people say, you can't do this, you can't do that. This is literal. Like, my clients are literally being told, like, you can never do
That's
this, like, all the time. I mean, they actually say those words.
that's
This
bullshit.
is not
No.
it's such bullshit, and this is not figurative. This is like we have people in our face that for some reason there's this entitlement to tell me that I can't create this, and it happens all the time.
Right.
All the time,
Yeah.
like, quite literally. It's like, yeah.
No, you know what? I have 2
Mhm.
young daughters in business, and I always say, "Bet on yourself." Just you have to bet on yourself. And if you can't bet on yourself, then you gotta do some, soul searching.
Anything you would have done differently looking back?
Oh, man, listened more, moved a little slower, and then I think, well, speed was an asset. It was also
Yeah, I was gonna
got me
say,
in
but how
trouble.
would have that worked out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Listened to my body more, when I was, almost 50, I was just traveling. I was just running and gunning. I didn't take care of my body. I should have done that more. Now I do, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard
You
work.
know it's interesting too, like, you'll see, women who work in healthcare and, like, we have these very mission-driven, companies like what you're describing and, you're getting a specific spray bottle because you wanna make sure that it's environmentally conscious or whatever the words around it would be, and then you're not taking care of yourself, right? Like, there's this
I know.
disconnect that ends up happening, right? I see some of this next chapter for you, which you're already in. You wrote the book. You sold the business? I
I
don't
sold
really
it
know
back
what the
in
status is.
many years ago,
Yeah.
to S.E. Johnson. Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Great. So this is like this new opportunity for you to now do something different. Can you tell us about the legacy that you're creating, how you're giving back? What's this new job that you now have?
What's this new job?
Book tours, keynotes, all the things.
Yeah, I guess it's more of, I get asked so many times by entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs, "Hey, how did you do it? How do you build a
Mhm.
brand?" I just get like
Mhm.
on LinkedIn, I'll get 2 to 5 messages a day. "I got this brand, what do you think?" And I think I can help the people who help themselves. And let me tell you a story about that. So I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs, and I always say just I used to meet with everybody because I always go back to that one gentleman who helped me, who agreed to,
Mhm.
and I think, well, okay, what if he hadn't agreed to help me? I would probably not be on
Yeah.
your show. And so I think I'm gonna help, but one thing I learned is people come unprepared. They don't have a one-page executive summary. They don't tell me
Mhm.
how they're gonna disrupt an industry. They haven't been to a Target or a Walmart or a Costco to say, "Hey, how can I wedge into that category?" You gotta kick somebody out to get on the shelf. So how are you gonna do that? What are the financial parameters to do that? So, I'm trying to get people to get prepared to bet on themselves. They come unprepared. They think this, and maybe it's to your point earlier, I make it look so easy. It's not easy. This is hard. But it's like running a marathon. You're not just gonna go out and run a marathon without training. You gotta train. You gotta get ready for entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and it sounds like maybe there was some of that fearlessness that you had along the way too, and I do think that, both in recognizing why did I not come with the pitch
Right.
to you, it could be fear, right?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why would you not? Like, you have this opportunity, you asked for the meeting.
Right.
Why would you not be prepared? It's fear, right? Like, it is. Like, whatever.
Or
Will it be rejected?
inexperience.
Is it good enough?
Or
Or
you
experience, like,
know
I didn't know.
Yeah, like you don't know. And then so
Yeah.
I always give an open door. Hey, if you come back to me with a one-page executive summary and it makes sense for what I know how to do, I help you.
Mhm.
Do you know how many
Great.
people do that?
Like none. I don't know.
Yeah, less than 5%. Okay, that's sad. That means they're not committed or they're not disciplined or all of the above.
So tell me a little bit more about the book. It's a memoir,
Yeah.
building of the business.
It's part memoir and part startup manual.
Ah, so it's giving us that blueprint,
Exactly.
as well as your story.
Right. Because I talk about fear and failure. I talk about creativity. I talk about how to build a brand. I talk about the early stages of building a team. And these are all based on my experience, things that I read, and the things that have made me successful, and yet interspersed with stories about my childhood and my mother and stories along the way, which I just think is a lot more interesting than a boring business book. Because I've read tons of those. When I got lost as an entrepreneur, my little saying to myself was, I can read. I'd always go, I can read. And I would go find a book, go to the library, find somebody, and just that kept me going too, was just to constantly educate myself on how to be a better business person.
So, do you feel like this book I was gonna I was gonna say is a better business book?
I
I mean,
think
I
it's more
think
entertaining, and
yeah. Yeah.
what do we know about when we're entertained or when you pull at the
Yeah.
heartstrings, you tend to
Yeah.
remember it more. So
Exactly.
that's what I really
Exactly.
want to achieve with this book is, hey, I want this book to be reflective of the brand we created, Mrs. Myers, and also to be an inspiration for wannabe entrepreneurs. Like, oh, I can do this.
Do you read the Audible book? Do you read the audiobook?
Yeah, I did the book and so did my
Okay,
mom.
good. Yeah, that's oh my god, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was already like, I wanna hear you reading
Yeah,
this.
no, I did the book, and then my mom okay, so this is interesting. I put in a parenting chapter in this book, and
Uh-huh.
I had 2 editors, and one editor said, "Oh god, take that out, nobody cares." And then another editor said, "Leave that in." And then my best friend who did the reading said, What do you think, Monica? You have really good instincts." I said, "I think it should
Uh-huh.
stay in."
Yeah.
So my mom read
Oh,
that chapter 14.
oh my god.
Yeah,
Brilliant. I can't wait.
yeah,
Now I'm like, "Okay, I gotta go.
yeah.
Gotta go, Monica, bye." No,
Okay.
I would never do that. I'm so excited. You have I just I can't help but feel inspired by you and just I think it's that level of rawness, truth, and ambition all mixed in together. I have this term that I remind people of that's authentic power. And I think power by itself can feel very elusive and like I don't really want that. I don't sense that you created this business just to have power over people.
No.
But this idea to be authentically powerful yourself feels very strong and yeah, it's compelling.
I think when you grow up this big family, you just wanna see if you can pull off the caper. That's a lot of it is just the challenge of it. It wasn't so
Yeah.
much the money or the fame, it was like, "Okay, I got this idea.
Uh-huh.
I think it could work. I'm gonna go for it." You know?
Yeah. And you went all the
And I
way,
went all the way.
like all the way.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm not familiar with and is Mrs. Myers, the story of your mom in the actual branding of the
Oh,
product. Like,
absolutely.
yeah, all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, we created
Yeah.
a brand bible. Well, I hired this great design team to
Mhm.
develop the packaging, and the woman who runs it, Sharon Werner, said, "Oh my gosh, your mom is my mom. I know how these moms
Mhm.
think." So she created the packaging, and we used her language. We had a brand bible, Mrs. Myers, this is her language. This is how she shows up. This is what she wears. She's sort of like a domestic mentor in your neighborhood who leans over the fence and says, "Hey, I know how to get that strawberry stain out of your white t-shirt. And oh, by the way, do you want to come in for some rhubarb crisp?" Just like this is how my mom would actually talk. So she's a huge gardener and she loves the Mother Earth. And so we just used how she approached life as part of the brand. So it was very authentic to people.
And you know what I'm realizing now in real time is that I didn't know all that. But yet, as you're saying that, it's like, yes, absolutely. That makes total sense, right? Like, it's like you can have an association with a brand that feels that way,
Yeah.
and not know the whole story. And then you can be creating a business where you're like, well, doesn't everybody know this story? This is our brand guide.
Right.
This is how we make every single decision. I'm like, well, I don't know any of that story.
Right.
And yet can feel that story, or yet that story feels so true to me and how I experience the brand.
That's great. I mean, you can't fake an authentic brand. You cannot. I can't name one brand because they're not around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all
Yeah.
brands are started by passionate founders. They just are.
Yeah.
The brands that survive are the ones who, even if when they're acquired, they keep the dream alive. They keep the vision alive.
So what's next for you? I mean, obviously, I think your book just came out in March, right?
Right.
So we might be in the what's next, but anything else that you're working on or want to share?
You know, I'm really riding the wave of this book. So I've been doing a lot of book signings. I'm going to teach a class at Columbia. I'm going to go to my hometown, Granger, Iowa, do a book signing with my mom. She's just all jazzed up about this. So I'm doing stuff like that right now. And who knows?
Yeah.
I've been a writer my whole
Right.
career. So I've
Uh-huh.
written 3 screenplays. I've got another one in the
Ah,
works. So I've got some writing projects I want to do too.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a question that I like to ask all of my guests, and it's very appropriate for this conversation, but why do you personally feel motivated to have a voice at the table?
Personally, well, because I guess I have the experience. I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
I've made a lot of mistakes as an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I can share with people. They can learn from me. Like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
she started 4 businesses, 2 flubs, and she's still standing. So I want to
Yeah.
be a role model for people who want to start their own business. And that was another reason I wrote this book. So I wanted a voice for, hey, if you have an idea and you need some motivation, you need a kick in the rear to get going, this book is for you.
I have a feeling you're kicking me in my rear right
Okay,
now. So
Stacy.
I'm feeling it. I need to have some conversations, get some executive summaries out. I'm on it.
Do it,
Thank you so
Stacy.
much, Monica. Yes, absolutely. Wow, this was such a pleasure. Anything that we haven't touched on that you'd like to share with my audience today?
You know what? I think the older I get and I watch my daughters and I talk to a lot of young women in business, I think the more you can get in touch with your talent and your personal passion and share that authenticity is kind of what we talked about earlier, you're just going to get further faster. Rather than trying to fake it, trying to fit into this corporate suit it's ill-fitting, it's just to be true to yourself. And I think that took me a while. And I watch my daughters thinking they're getting it, but they're almost 40, but you probably feel like that, right? You want to be yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a lot of times when I don't feel like myself at all.
Right.
And but it's like when I think about power or what is it I'm not saying or what am I hiding behind that, I always click into myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust yourself.
And selfishly, I have people like you on my podcast so that I can feel that, right? Be reminded of that.
Yeah. Bet on
Yeah.
yourself. That's what I tell
Uh-huh.
everybody. Just bet on yourself.
I'm from Kentucky, and so we have the horse
Oh,
racing, and so I'm always thinking about that as a metaphor.
absolutely. I watched the Derby this
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was
It was a
great.
good one.
Oh, this was a good one for women, for
Oh,
everyone. Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Well, thank you, Monica. It's such a pleasure. Definitely go out and look for her book, I Bottled My Mother, the Mrs. Meyer story. And I can't wait to get the Audible version because I want to meet your mom in my ears as well as hear you.
Thank you,
Thank
Stacy. It was
you
a real
again.
pleasure.
I appreciate it. Take care.
Okay, thank you.
Before you go, if you have not yet subscribed to this podcast, do so now. If you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, go there at stacymayer.com/YouTube and subscribe today. And if you know a colleague, a friend, anyone who needs to hear this message, share this information with them now. Post it to your LinkedIn profile. We are navigating this AI era together, and I am thrilled to help you on this journey. If you want to work with me personally, I invite you to schedule a call with me at stacymeyer.com/discovery, where we will map out a career strategy specifically tailored to you. Whether you've recently been laid off or you're just looking to navigate this chaotic landscape and you no longer want to do it alone, go to stacymeyer.com/discovery and schedule your free call today.